Mike Smith getting all from West Coast as he clings to the lead from Gunnabara. Irem is third on the inside. Cameron is fourth. It is West Coast, and he keeps on rolling. And West Coast goes wire to wire. It's Les Travers.
Live from the backstretch at historic Saratoga Racecourse, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow. Racing Across America is brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. Thoroughfan, giving the fan a voice. Find them at thoroughfan.com. And Woodbine Racetrack. Pick, bet, and cheer on world-class horse racing north of the border.
Good morning and welcome to Racing Across America on this Thursday morning. I'm Seth Merrill. Thanks for joining us live from the Saratoga backstretch. Again, a sun-splashed morning, so looks like a good day all day today here on a Thursday. We'll look at what's coming up a little bit later on as well with Dave Grenig from the Daily Racing Forum. Dave Grenig and Mike Welch come in every Thursday, and this week Dave Grenig. We'll talk some of the stakes action coming up on the weekend over the next couple of days as well, and go back and maybe get some of Dave's impression from the past week. Robertina Diodoro will join us, one of the prominent trainers across the country. Currently, I'd written it down, currently sitting, I believe, third with the number of wins nationally behind Carl Broberg and Steve Asmussen. But the past couple of years, he's been a top 5 trainer, wins nationally. Came to New York within the past couple of seasons. His first season up at Saratoga was last year. But certainly, he is on the radar of the players up here in New York. And I thought we'd take the chance to introduce you to Robertina Diodoro, if you're not already familiar. And in just a couple of minutes, after we come back from the break, we'll be joined by Lynn LaRocca, the Chief Experience Officer here at the New York Racing Association. We'll talk a little bit about changes that have been made recently and in recent years and what we have to look forward to in the future as well right here at Saratoga and beyond. But going to take a break first, catch our breath, come back, and get into this Thursday edition of Racing Across America. Stay tuned.
Birdstone is an outside front. They're coming down to the finish. Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes.
You know, and make better decisions, better choices, to know how to connect the dots. In horse racing, knowledge is a powerful tool, but not the only tool. Race results and replays, past performances and live streaming, wagering from all your digital devices. These too are important tools, and you'll find them all right here at Capital OTB. Capital OTB. Become a better horse player.
The backstretch workers are the heart and soul of what we do.
They're the backbone of the industry.
People on the racetrack are very giving people.
It's a very oppressive community of people helping one another. We see it all the time.
Any help we need it. It's right there in their hands.
It makes so much easier in the family to have somebody like Nathan to help them.
Looking for a fantastic meal? Stop by Malcolm's, a unique farm-to-table restaurant experience. Located at 617 Union Street in Schenectady, Malcolm's offers locally grown fresh foods, mouth-watering flavors, an enhanced drink menu, and terrific service. Malcolm's is a sure bet during Saratoga season. Make your reservation today.
chain, lifting it up, lifting it up, lifting it up. Pin sagging, gold grills, lifting, trilling the cut, trilling the cut.
Welcome back to Racing Across America, live from the Saratoga backstretch on this Thursday morning. And as promised before the break, we're happy to be joined now by Lynn LaRocca, the Chief Experience Officer here at the New York Racing Association. Lynn, good morning.
Good morning.
Happy to have you over here.
Thanks
the annual visit.
I know. I love coming over here.
We love having you over here.
Love being in the backstretch here. It's
this
so pretty.
is the best television set in all of horse racing,
really
I think.
is.
The horses back here working out typically in the morning. It's just, again, a gorgeous morning here. I had Chris Kay in the other day to kind of give the halftime report, and we commented, and you and I were talking. The weather has been a little quirky at the meet. That's probably the story. But as the Chief Experience Officer, you're taking care of people, rain or shine. And clearly,
rain or shine.
Yesterday we had a gorgeous day, and I typically when we get off the air, I'll sit in here and work a little bit. And at one point, I got up and they were lined up here. When the sun came out, so did the fans.
You know, even when the sun isn't out, the fans are here. On Saturday for Four-Star Dave Day, we had a huge crowd here. And it wasn't supposed to rain, but then it did rain, and people had a great time. So, look, come rain, come shine. You're going to have a good time. If it's going to rain, bring a windbreaker.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, it only comes for the short period every year, and people have to make it up here. And when you get high-quality racing like we saw over the weekend with Voodoo Song and in the Four-Star Dave and some of the other two-year-old stakes races, it was a lot of fun regardless. But, again, nice day today, and we'll hope for more of the same as we move forward. Let's talk a little bit about some changes that have been made recently or going back the past couple of years, changes going forward as well that affect the fan experience. One that I drove up and I didn't have it on my list, but as I was driving up I wanted to mention because I touted you guys as having made a great decision a couple of years ago when you put the season pass out. Because I think for the folks up here who like to come, maybe not every day, but maybe half of the days of the meet or something, the season pass was a great addition.
It pays for itself with 7 days, really, when you think about it. And then there are other perks that are on top of it. So if you have a season pass, you become part of our season perks program, and there are discounts throughout the track, throughout the area, throughout the town. We've got merchants. That's our third year in a row going with that. We'll also have our Fan Appreciation Week during the last week of the meet here, so come back on track. There's going to be specials going on here and there, so you really can't beat that season pass.
Yeah, again, I highly touted it when it came out, and I still think it was a great idea, home run for you guys. Let's go to one of the additions that I've talked about quite a few times already. Talked about it with Chris Kay on Monday, but the stretch where you took the two really underutilized sections at the top of the grandstand and redid them. And everybody I've talked to who has experienced it over the first few weeks of the meet has been raving about it. So to me, that was a home run, not just for fan experience, but from a business standpoint. Again, a couple of sections that were underutilized to now folks really enjoying that whole area on the upgrade.
You know, we were really surprised when all the fans jumped on the ticket sales as quickly, because we put a lot of thought into it. We take our job as stewards of this racetrack very, very seriously. So when you make any changes here, you want to make sure that it's done properly. So we work with the local architects and the Historic Preservation Society. And the stretch was this place that it was like a labor of love for everybody here, because we knew that those two areas were really underutilized. And we thought, if we can put something in here where we can get more people down here, create some energy and excitement to that end of the track, it would be a win for everybody. And most importantly for the fan. So we did it, and when the tickets went on sale, I mean, they went like gangbusters from a season sale perspective, but we still have availability in some of what we call the premium reserve seats on a daily basis. So it's a great area. We're extremely happy with it, and it's fun to watch a race down there. It's fun to go down, and we open it up for the last race every day for people to come in. So if you don't have tickets down there and you just want to see what it's all about, come on down for the last race and come in. And then on Fridays and Saturdays, we have a special. We call it the Last Race Showcase, where we have some specials going on at the bar and food. So come on down at some point just to see what it's all about. You might want to buy some season tickets for next year.
Yeah, we've been touting the Friday and Saturday visits for a couple of weeks now. If you haven't had a chance to experience it, go down 6:30 to 7:30 Fridays and Saturdays and kind of see it. I had Justin Nicholson and Katie Sharp in yesterday from EquestriCon, and they have seats down there, and they said it's great. It's a lot of fun. It's been a home run for them.
And it's a casual dress environment, which you can come and wear your great shorts and polos and kick back and relax down there. And there's such a great vibe, you know.
Yeah, and as
really
I say,
is.
to me it was a home run from not just a business perspective, but from that fan experience perspective as well. Another addition that was made, not this year, but in recent years, but maybe a couple of years old. I walked down yesterday and took a couple pictures of the 4-Star Dave dining area. That's on the bottom of the carousel. Upstairs from that is the Easy Goer dining area. But you kind of upgraded. Again, it was a couple of years ago, I guess you
About 3
upgraded
years
that
now,
dining area, made it the 4-Star Dave
Yes.
area, a lot of new TVs and whatnot, and that seems to be popular as well.
It's actually one of the most popular bars on the track. So you can go to the bar at any time. You don't have to have a ticket to go into 4-Star Dave. And then we have those reserved tables that are there. And again, you know, we try to do things that we know that certain aspects of fans are going to like. We talk every year when I come on the show and I say there's this, you know, a personally relevant experience for a fan. So we look at everything that we can do to really create a great experience and upgrade it for the fan, and the 4-Star Dave was one of them 3 years ago. People wanted to be able to get a table, come in, not have to run in the morning when the gates open to grab something underneath. So this is an opportunity for them to do that, the 4-Star Dave.
And again, upstairs is the Easy Goer
Yes.
as well, and you know, a lot of dining options at the track. I will also toss in, because I had it written on my list, and it folds in nicely to not having to run in. You still, a few years ago, you added a nice idea of some reserved picnic tables out by the paddock area. And I said at the time, still plenty of the traditional free picnic tables if you want to take advantage of those. But I said, if you're somebody at Syracuse and you bring in the kids and you want a picnic table, it used to have to be you'd get up at the crack of dawn, 5 or 6 o'clock, and get it and then get your run in. But now if you're out in Syracuse or here locally as well, obviously, but you can make the call, reserve the table, and then go in just before post time and you're all set.
Yeah, again, that has been really a home run for us here, because there is a subset of fan out there that does not want to have to get up and wait in line for the gates to open at 7 and run in and throw their picnic, you know, table or their picnic cover on something or their newspapers. So they want to come in, they want to know that there's going to be a table for them, and there's 100 tables that are available to grab on any given day.
Yeah, and as I say, that was a nice addition, and still plenty of the free tables out there for everybody
900.
who wants. Yeah, it's the number still very high that you can go in and get your free table as well. I also wanted to mention something. And I don't get out there enough. I passed a couple of friends of mine yesterday as I was kind of walking around taking pictures, and they had walked out of the Saratoga Pavilion tent out and back, where a lot of great events go on an ongoing basis throughout the meet. And I kind of kicked myself when I didn't get out there for Italian food on Italian Day. But yesterday, the friends of mine had come from Adirondack Day and said it was a fun day yesterday. Yeah. So people should keep in mind the ongoing events out in the tent behind the grandstand.
There's always something going on out there. There's a calendar that's right outside of the tent, you know, the Saratoga Pavilion that's presented by Coca-Cola. Mondays are family days with Berkshire Bank. Wednesdays we change up a little bit. We have Adirondack Day or the Italian Day. We've got Irish Day coming up soon. So Thursdays are wine and cider and spirits day. Friday are craft beer. Saturday Fashion Saturdays, and Sunday Taste New York. So there's really something for everybody. And even if you're here every day, go to the tent on a different, you know, just for a few minutes and walk through, because there's local artisans, and we really are trying to celebrate that flavor of New York State in this area.
And should add in, I went and got a haircut at the beginning of the meet, and my barber was somebody locally, and the guy in the barber chair across recognized me from television, so we all started talking horse racing. My barber said, you know, I lived here all my life, and I rarely go to the track. I'm just not that in. And I said, no. This is Saratoga. Pop out, even if you aren't that into horse racing, come out. You have the band playing in back. You can watch people. The pavilion tent is out there, and then you pick a few numbers or some colors during the day, and believe me, you're going to have a great time.
Absolutely. I mean, that is you're so on point with that, Seth. There is really something here for everybody. The food, forget it. There's local food trucks. There's actually celebrated chefs from the Food Network here. You know, there's Hattie's. There's our, you know, the Pies on Wheels. There's a Lobster Hut guy. So we've got all this
Shake
local
Shack?
Shake Shack, the only one in the area for right now, right? You can come in, grab a Shake Shack burger, play a couple of numbers, hit the At the Post bar right there. Again, there's really, you don't even have to like horse racing. It's just more about this atmosphere,
and
right?
as I said, you come in and you pick some of your favorite numbers, and maybe at the end of the day you walk out a little bit ahead. It's a great afternoon. Whether you're into the game or not, by the time you leave, you will be into the game. That's what
How can you not be with everybody here? They get so excited and they yell and scream. It's awesome. Right?
And I continue to say it. I say it on a almost daily basis. Saratoga is more than just what's here inside the fence. It's when you go downtown and the people are talking about the daily double from the day before, or the trifecta they plan to play. Going back to some of the things on track and some recent additions over the past few years, the Walk of Fame building out in the back, Heidi recommended that people go out and visit that as well. That ties into the Red Jacket Day. Bob Baffert will get it
this year,
the Friday before the Travers. But you go out there and there are bios and whatnot of some of the big names in the game, and there's racing memorabilia out there, and it's right out in back, just kind of opposite the Jockey Silks room.
Right. It just celebrates the greats of our sport, and especially people that have made a contribution here in Saratoga. So, Mary Lou Whitney is in there. There's some celebrated trainers, jockeys. So absolutely worth your time to stop by and walk around. It's open air. It's a beautiful building. And some of the great displays for the people there are wonderful.
We have a singing
we got a rider going behind us.
Singing exercise rider behind us. That's what makes it beautiful here.
Right?
Also, we mentioned kids a little bit earlier, but want to tout again a fairly recent addition, the playground out in the backyard. That's a great addition if you want to bring the kids to the racetrack.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time and energy on that for last year and unveiled it. And again, another area when you took it in and of itself, it was completely underutilized. It looked almost sad, if you will. We would walk by and say, gosh, there was a jungle gym in kind of like a dirt area. So we said, we really need to put some time and energy in, and we did. And there's this great rubber track. There's, a starting gate replica the kids can run around with. And there's also educational panels there that can introduce our young fans to the sport. What's a horse? How does a horse train? What does a horse eat on training day? They talk about the Travers. There's a replica of the Travers canoe in there. So great selfie picture area. There's a big Adirondack chair that Berkshire Bank brought in this year. So plenty of spaces for some great family photo ops and just some fun to let the kids run around.
Yeah, when you say big Adirondack chair, it's a big
Adirondack chair.
Yeah, no question. It's a picture. Yes, it's a photo opportunity. Selfie yourself on the Twitter. I got on Twitter yesterday, so maybe I'll have to go over and selfie myself on there. We talked about the eating areas, but I will also tout. I walked around the backyard yesterday. I walk around the backyard a lot just to kind of check it out and interact with people. It's a fun crowd out there, and so we have some pictures of the backyard. But when we're talking about it in relation to the experience, you're not going to be able to go to an NFL game or a Major League Baseball game and bring in your cooler and park on a picnic table like this. But also, I have a shot of the horse path, and I think a lot of people who don't hang out in the backyard normally don't realize that horse path goes right through the middle of the picnic table. So if you're out there and you're a horse fan and you have the kids out there 9 or 10 times a day, the entrance to every race walk right by you in the middle of the backyard.
How many people come here on a daily basis when the meet is in session and sit in the backyard and never actually go to the track, right? But they see the horses as they're making their way to the paddock. They get to, look them over. There's so many. What I love about the backyard is that there are just generations back there. That's how people grew up, right? And families come, and they have their drill, they have their routine. They come in on certain days and they take tables and they arrange them around the TV umbrellas, and it's a family. It's a family reunion. It's a college reunion. It's just a friend reunion, that goes on back there. And then you, of course, pick up new friends. There are so many people here that are sitting in the backyard that have actually made friends just from coming here. So that's what makes this place so special and
I was
magical.
out walking there 4 or 5 years ago, way out in the backyard, and who has their regular table? I'm told Chad Brown's father, who was back there virtually every day. In fact, I'm in the winner's circle with him. He's got the coat and tie on after one of Chad's victories.
Exactly.
I said, so what, you're not hanging out in the backyard? No. We got the food out. We're still out in the picnic table, the regular picnic table. So, yeah, it's certainly amazing.
It makes this place so magical. It really does.
And I wanted to touch on one more thing as I walked around yesterday, just kind of taking some pictures. And again, if you come to the track, it's just so much more than the horse racing. It's so fun to walk around. And, I'm into the horse racing, and most of the day I'm up in the press box concentrating on that, but I just spend a lot of days walking around, interacting with people, and just enjoying the facility. But I took a couple of pictures. I walked down to the landing on the stairs out in back of the grandstand area and looked at that really intricate and artistic ironwork that's out there. That's now painted, and then the horse heads, on the posts.
Those things get lost, and
exactly.
I know we took some time last year, and we've got a great facilities crew here at Saratoga, led by Peter Goulet, who really cleaned some of that up for us as we were making renovations and improvements throughout the track. We saw this ironwork, and they touched it up so that now people should be able to appreciate and see it as they walk through. Absolutely. That stuff is gorgeous.
Yeah, again, just take a walk around it and look beyond.
Look up. It's like we tell you when you're in New York City, don't keep looking down. You should look up every once in a while at the village. So look up while you're here as well. So there's so many things
explore
like that.
A little bit.
Right?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I also wanted to mention Travers tickets, because, of course, the Travers comes up in about a week or so. But if you buy ahead of time, you get a discount on your Travers tickets.
So we're actually all sold out for reserved seats and table reservations and everything for Travers Day already, which is great. It's the biggest day of the meet here. Everybody really looks forward to it. But we still have general admission tickets left. Still have some clubhouse and general admission. And if you buy in advance, you're going to save yourself $5. Because if you wait until the day of, if there's any left, you're going to pay an extra $5 for either one of them. So we encourage you to buy today. Either stop by the box office if you're on track, or call, go on NYRA.com, Ticketmaster, and you can buy your ticket. And make sure that you've insured your spot here for a really monumental day.
Do it, because you're coming.
Yes.
So do it. Save yourself. Now you got $5 for a daily double if you're doing that. And just before we let you go, we talked a little bit again on Monday with Chris Kay about the new edition that's coming up, where the tent is, and now the temporary seating, and I think we might have an artist rendition. Really nice, as you said. You guys are kind of stewards of a facility that is near and dear to the folks here.
Right.
And I think architecturally this kind of fits in, but it's a really nice upgrade to the facility here.
Right. So that's the 1863 Club that we'll see next year, and it is going to take the place of a bunch of temporary tenting that we've had down there for a number of years. And just like what we saw on the stretch, there is a hunger from a lot of fans to have that tradition yet modern amenities. So in the stretch, we have these interactive display tablets and all this technology and Wi-Fi. This building's going to have the same thing, air conditioning as well. That is one of the things that, even though this is a beautiful facility, we lack a lot of air conditioned space. And there are people that look for that, especially if they're entertaining and and they're coming dressed up in suits. They're looking for some AC. So this building's going to have that, and we're actually really excited to pull that together. It's going to be a lot of work over the course of the next 10 months.
Yeah, it sounded like Chris. The shovels go in the ground almost. As
soon as Labor Day is over, with the next crew comes in and takes away those temporary tents, and we're at it, right?
So looking forward to that next year, certainly. But as I say, the stretch, a nice addition this year, and we looked at some of the things you've done over the past couple of years on upgrades, and I know the conversations I've had with people, they've all been hits. And don't forget, Travers ticket. You buy it now, you get $5 off, so jump in on that as well. Lynn, as always, appreciate the visit.
Thank you.
Good luck going forward with the meet.
Got a few more weeks to go.
Yeah, very good. Lynn LaRocca, Chief Experience Officer at the New York Racing Association. We'll take a break. When we come back, Robertina Diodoro will join us. Stay tuned.
For 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 96-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients and served in a home-like setting where everyone is welcome. Some things have changed in the last 96 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Sign up today for Capital OTB's handicapping series and plan your trip to Las Vegas.
Visit Rivers Casino and Resort, the Capital Region's only destination for live table game action and the hottest new slots paying out millions. And they're off. Horse betting is now at Rivers Casino and Resort with Capital off-track betting terminals and live tellers located just off the gaming floor at Van Slyck's. Get in on all the action at Rivers Casino and Resort.
Funding your Capital OTB bet account is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Easy Money. Clearly the fastest and easiest method of depositing funds into your account. Make deposits or withdrawals in just minutes. 2. Green Dot Money Pack. Gives you instant access to your funds. Green Dot Money Packs are available at thousands of retailers nationwide. And 3. MasterCard Visa. Simply click on the link from the funding page, enter your account information, and fund your account. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Welcome back to Racing Across America on this Thursday morning. I'm Seth Merrill. Thanks, as always, for joining us. As promised before the break, joined now by Robertino Diodoro. As I said at the top of the show, I'm sure he's become a familiar name to everybody out in the audience, as he has appeared in New York after having successful seasons at many venues around the country. But his first season up here at Saratoga last year, and as I say, now familiar name, but I thought we'd take a couple of minutes to maybe introduce you to him personally. Thanks for stopping by.
No, thanks for having me.
Happy to have you join us. And doing a little bio research last night, I always like to ask trainers this: how did you get into the game? And as many trainers, it looks like kind of a family thing pulled you in.
Yeah, no, I was born into it. My mom's side of the family was always into it, and I was actually just kind of born at the racetrack. I was always around it.
And tell us the steps that brought you to becoming a licensed trainer.
My grandpa he was just a small trainer, just had 2-3 horses all the time, and he had one horse left. I took over, and when I was 17, 18 on the bush tracks up in Canada, and here we are today.
Yeah, it's interesting, you know, the path you've taken, and we'll get into that a little bit. You remember your first winner?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Everybody seems to remember that. What was the name?
Manchu Prince.
Was that on one of the bush tracks, or was that when you moved on?
That was a track. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
You still have the photo posted?
Oh yeah.
Everybody seems to remember that. It's funny. I was at the Andy Serling radio show when you were on with him last year. I don't know whether you're going to remember the answer to this, but if you don't, I'll remind you. But you were talking about the early years. You trained up in Canada, and there's no winter racing there. And so Andy said, "Well, what did you do in the winter?"
Yeah. Sold Christmas trees. Yeah.
Christmas tree salesman by night, trainer by day. Very good.
You go.
Now, of course, and you hit my radar here on the OTB network. We do a lot of handicapping shows, and it was probably 6-7 years ago. We were doing the morning handicapping show, and every week we would have Michael Chamberlain from Turf Paradise and do a little handicapping. So that's when you kind of started to hit my radar. But going back to before when you made the move to the States and had the winter base, and again going to Canada where you didn't have winter racing, I'm just curious because it's still that way in Canada. Woodbine will shut down for the winter, Fort Erie, and if you watch those races in the spring, a lot of the horses won't have run since the last meet. What do you do with the horses in the wintertime?
Yeah, it's tough for those the local people up there. Just we used to spring train up there. You start in January, and minus 30 weather. Yeah. It's tough, and. That's one of the reasons why I started coming down to the States is the weather, and going back up to Canada in the spring with fit horses and horses that have been winter raced.
So when a track closes like that and there's the winter, you just find a farm for them and they just run around in the snow for a couple months?
Yeah.
And then how do you prepare them to get back to the race? And are those, just from a handicapping standpoint, are we smart to think, they probably need a race?
Yeah. No, definitely, in Alberta, the big angle on handicapping was any horses that came out of California and Arizona. That's the two places where guys would go buy and claim horses, and those horses were pretty tough to outrun the first month of racing in Alberta.
As you said, eventually down to the States, and as you hit my radar screen at Turf Paradise, and it was fun to watch you. You were a high percentage guy down there, and subsequently saw you make the move out to Southern California and do well there, and then migrate east. Oaklawn is one of my favorite winter tracks, and you've been there, and now the past couple of seasons up in New York. And I went and looked at Equibase, going back to results over the past couple of days and entries going forward a couple more days. Horses at Canterbury, Monmouth, Evangeline, Laurel, Saratoga, and Prairie Meadows. I'm just going to ask the nuts and bolts of that. I'm assuming if we had gone back 20 years before the internet and cell phones, that would have been almost impossible. I think technology has to play into that kind of a thing.
Oh, definitely. It'd be impossible to do it without, like you said, the technology, and got to have good help too. Technology and good help, and that's been a big part of our success the last couple of years, is having great help and good team put together.
Talk a little bit about, with that many tracks, you're obviously poring over that many condition books. How does that process work? Do the assistants point you to, oh, let's think about this spot, this spot, this spot? Are you going through all those condition books on a regular basis?
I go through them regularly, but at different tracks we have different systems, and some tracks my assistant does the entering, and other tracks I do it. But overall, I mean, between the phone and my iPad, I'm on it 24/7.
Yeah, so. I could imagine, as they say, without the technology, it seems like that would be hard to do. As I was driving in this morning, I thought to ask you a question that I have not asked any other trainer, but I should ask them all. And I don't know whether you'll have a clever answer or not, but I'm just curious. To me, training is something you have to have a real passion for. It's a tough job. You're up early, and it's really a 24/7, 365 taking care of horses, and you have to please the owners. You have to get the wins. So, what makes you enjoy being a trainer? What's the best part about being a trainer?
Competitiveness. I mean, I love horses, but winning is. I think as I get older, I'm getting worse. I hate losing. I guess that's a good thing, but the competitiveness. I've always been competitive and anything I've done, and like I said, love horses, and then the winning of a race is the best feeling ever. And when you're on a roll, it's the best feeling. But of course, when you hit a slump, which we've all been there before, it's not so much fun.
Yeah, at the percentage you do, it must be happy time. You've been in the top 5, 5th in wins nationally in 2017, 4th in 2016. Currently, you're sitting 3rd nationally. Some of the titles recently, you were 2nd at Oaklawn this year. You were 1st down at Turf Paradise over the 2017-2018 season. I wanted to go to Oaklawn, though. How long have you been racing at Oaklawn?
This coming year will be our 5th year.
And just like to get your impression of Oaklawn, mainly because clearly you're a claiming guy. You like the claiming game. You've had some stakes winners as well, so I'm not saying you're only in the claiming game, but clearly that's something you play at a high level. And during the year, we'll talk a lot with Nancy Holthus down at Oaklawn, and we talk about, boy, the claim box is on fire at Oaklawn, so that must be a meet you really enjoy.
Oh, it's the biggest rush ever. I mean, the people really get into it, the whole town, and it's good racing, big fields, and like you said, the claiming, it's a rush. It's at the end of it's roughly a 3.5 month meet. When you're done that meet, you need a little break. It's stressful, but it's exciting. It's a rush.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite meets to play during the year. And again, it's fun just to watch that claiming game go along. And then even at the end of the meet, and you had a lot of those, the horses that you claimed towards the end of the meet and then go to other venues. Because I always feel, from a handicapping standpoint, I think horses leave Oaklawn with a fitness advantage.
Yeah, I mean, that track can get a little deeper. And yeah, you're probably right. I mean, they seem to definitely go on and win all over the country. So
yeah, for me, that's kind of a handicapping angle in that month or 6 weeks after Oaklawn ends. Talk a little bit about the claiming game for folks who maybe aren't familiar. What is your process? Do you sit down and talk with the owners? Do the owners give you a call? Hey, I'm looking at a horse. How do you decide which horses you're going to dip in for in the claiming game?
A little bit of both. Sometimes the owners will contact me, but I always say I'm only one person, so we're a team, and I got a couple guys behind the scenes that watch replays and read the sheets for me. My assistants, they're on top of things as well, watching horses, their previous race in the paddock and receiving barn, but it's all a team effort. Like I said, I'm only one person, and I'd be lying to you if I told you I read sheets and replays and etc. So we all put it all together by morning of each race day.
And take us through the process. I had Gary Gullo in yesterday, and we talked a little bit about it from the claiming side. But what is, when you decide we're going to go for that horse this afternoon, what is the actual process that you undertake?
Up here, my assistant, he's the one that fills out the claims, and either one of us or both of us, we start at the receiving barn on the golf cart and slowly make our way up to the paddock. You know, unless it's a horse that we've had previously, that's different. You know, we usually just hit the claim box. But a horse that we've never claimed before, it's you know, it's a 20-minute or so process, and to do it right. And then lots of time there's a phone call involved too. It depends on what owner it is. So.
You mentioned the sheets. This is something I have asked trainers in the past. I'm guessing then speed figures play into your training in some fashion. And what figures do you like to use?
You know, I'm not a sheets guy.
Okay.
I got a couple guys again that read sheets and that. I'm not saying I'm a believer in it, but I think part of it too is I'm not a gambler, so I don't bet. Right. So I know a lot of the handicappers definitely believe in the sheets. I like to watch replays. I like to, you know, see a horse in the morning or in a previous race, you know, in the paddock, his appearance, and especially young horses, how they're put together.
Talk a little bit about Saratoga. This is your second season up here now. What are your impressions of Saratoga racing and just the community in general?
No, it definitely reminds me a lot of Oaklawn, how the town gets into it. You know, you stop at Starbucks in the morning, there's someone in there with a racing form, or Dunkin' Donuts. You go for dinner at night. You know, the guys got their sports coats in their hand and their racing forms all wrinkled up in their back pockets still. So it's a great atmosphere, and like I said, it does remind me a lot of Oaklawn, how the town gets behind it.
Are you based up here during the meet?
I stay here most of the time. I've rented a place up here the last 2 years, and I'm up here most of the meet.
No, and I'm assuming that the frequent flyer miles must be totaling up, though.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of travel.
Which, again, if you're competitive and you're playing the game at the high level you are, and with these various venues, that's got to be fun and rewarding because you're doing well at all the various venues. Speaking of doing well, first I wanted to pull up one of your wins from the meet and just let folks take a look at a Robertina d'Oro winner. We're going to go back to July 30th, watch the stretch run of a nice little starter allowance race. This is going to be number 8, Special Relativity, under the jockey who's pretty much regularly riding for you, David Cohen. Wins by a couple of lengths. Nice little filly that had started in one of these races similarly in Belmont. The previous start, you had claimed her a couple of starts before this win, so always nice to get a win up at Saratoga.
No, definitely, and you know, she didn't get the perfect trip the first time we ran her back here. On paper, we loved the race, loved drawing the outside with her, and David did a great job with her. You know, just off the pace a little bit, and like I said, I think the outside post definitely helped her. But she's a nice big filly. She's nice horse.
Yeah, a nice win. Always nice to get some wins up at Saratoga, and you have a little pocket full of them at this point. And I also had to go, as I was looking on Equibase, I had to pull up this race. I don't know whether I've ever shown a replay from Asanobia Downs before, but the Manitoba Derby, I wanted to show this. You finished 1-2-4 in here, so it's a Robertina d'Oro Exacta, but we're going to watch the number 4 Sky Promise win. And as I say, I had to pull this up because just kind of digging a little bit. You had claimed the horse previously down at Churchill Downs. Did you have this race in mind when you claimed the horse?
Yeah.
That's a nice claim.
There's a little series of derbies up in Canada, and I got a lot of owners that are still from up there, and we like to go through the little derby trail up there. So this horse had a friend and a guy behind the scenes, Cody Autry, picked this horse out for me, and he was bound and determined this horse could run on the dirt. He was all grass horse before, and he was right. Horse ran a big race on the dirt.
That's a nice claim. Claimed him for 40. Claimed him down at Churchill, and then take him up to Assiniboia. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yep, Assiniboia Downs.
And is that the western part of Canada?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you. Yeah, a little more east, but
okay.
I'm
not sure where.
Part of the prairies.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as I was reading a little bit comments after that race, and you mentioned the series of derbies, the Canadian Derby at Northlands on the 25th next for that one.
Yeah. We got a couple up there already, and Yeah, that's a week to Saturday, the 25th.
That was nice. A crafty claim. So good job done there. And again, appreciate the visit this morning. Wanted to introduce people to you as, again, your name has become more prominent here in New York, but folks are familiar all over the country, and certainly will become more familiar as we go forward. As I say, a little pocket full of wins already at Saratoga. We wish you a lot of luck going forward.
No, appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Robertina Diodoro. All right, we'll head to another break. When we come back, Dave Grenig. He's in the house. We'll talk a little stakes action for the weekend right after this. Stay tuned.
Bet and cheer on live racing from Woodbine and Mohawk Park. Thoroughbred and harness action. The wagers are just the beginning. Watch award-winning broadcasts covering both breeds, incredible battles contested over the most unique grass course in North America. Experience the full fields with over 130 thoroughbred and 160 live harness days. Get access to free handicapping material and join the ranks of Woodbine and Mohawk Park players from all over the globe. For more information, visit woodbine.com.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
The backstretch workers are the heart and soul of what we do.
They're the backbone of the industry.
People on the racetrack are very giving people.
It's a very oppressive community of people helping one another. We see it all the time.
Any help we need it. It's right there in their hands.
It makes so much easier in the family to have somebody like Nathan to help them.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
Welcome back. As promised before the break, our Thursday morning visit from one of the DRF guys this morning, our friend Dave Grenig. Dave, good morning.
Good morning.
Happy to have you come over and talk a little preview and review, as it were, on the week past and the week ahead. Obviously, the Alabama coming up, one of the highlights of the Saratoga meet every year. But I did want to go back before we get to that and talk a little Grade 1 4-star Dave last weekend. Watch Voodoo Song get it done, the number 6 horse here in the 4-star Dave, as we watched the stretch run. To me, it was over on the first turn when Heart to Heart didn't go out and challenge Voodoo Song. And as that one kind of went around the far turn, you knew that it was going to be tough not to keep this one from keeping that undefeated streak alive. Delta Prince made a nice late run, but again, a fun story. It's the 4-star Dave, so it's already the Saratoga fan favorite who won an amazing. I saw the Migliori piece on MSG. 8 straight years, I had to be reminded. It's incredible. Horses don't run 8 years anymore.
No, it's a
and to win up here at Saratoga, but then to have Voodoo Song, who is now kind of moving into that category in a different kind of way with the 5 straight wins up here, adding the Grade 1. It was a fun result of the race.
It was. I disagree a little bit with that it was over in the first turn, just because I thought this was the best field that Voodoo Song had ever faced, and there was going to be some serious challenges. Now, Heart to Heart didn't fire. Yoshida certainly didn't fire. Buried inside there and really not moving. But Delta Prince, to me, I thought Delta Prince was going to catch Voodoo Song. I thought in mid-stretch, I thought it looked like Delta Prince was going to go on by. And Voodoo Song, in addition to being talented, is pretty gritty and held Delta Prince at bay. And look, Delta Prince on a firm turf is probably a little bit better than Delta Prince on a soft turf. But I would say the same for Voodoo Song. I think Voodoo Song on a firm ground is better than Voodoo Song on good or soft ground or whatever that kind of ground we had last weekend. But just a cool game, gritty horse. And another interesting aspect of that I didn't know until he mentioned it is Barry Schwartz. That's his first Grade 1 win at Saratoga. He's won Grade 1s elsewhere, but first Grade 1 win at Saratoga, and so that was pretty cool for him.
Yeah, a New York fixture, obviously, over the years. Also interesting, New York bred. Sue's Fortune wins for Jeremiah, wins one of the 2-year-old races in New York bred. What a 10-day period for the New York Reds with the great sale and the $1 million seller at the open sale as well.
Well, it's just been sort of the crescendo of what this program has been developing over the last few years. I mean, we had it in like you said, in a short window with Diversify and Mind Your Biscuits running 1-2 in the Whitney, and then Sue's Fortune winning the Grade 1 or the graded stakes on the day in the 2-year-old race. You had Voodoo Song. Then a little while after that, 4-Star Crook runs second to what may be the best turf filly. Yeah. It's Sister Charlie, the best turf filly in the country. So it's a very talented program, and it's sort of why you're going to see, like next Friday, those races are going to come up a little bit light on the New York bred showcase day. It's sort of like it's a good and bad thing that they're doing so well. They're competing in open company, and so they're graduating out of the restricted ranks in that day it just seems like there's going to be those races come up a little bit on the short side.
Yeah, no Diversify in the Evan Shipman.
No Diversify in the Evan Shipman. No Mind Your Biscuits in that race either. It's going to be like
although either one probably could come back and win.
Probably could.
But you stay in the barn and you go for the free workout.
Some trainers actually are back in the day might have actually run them. Rudy Rodriguez might run, because we're going to talk. Well, we may not be talking about that race, but tomorrow Rudy Rodriguez is running 2 horses back in the Saratoga 2. One ran Sunday and one ran Monday.
There you go. That's when I first got into the game, that was not totally uncommon.
No, it was not.
And Rick Dutrow had was it New York and Delaware? The horse that was
ran back-to-back days, but he also won. I always forget the horse's name. Won the Albany on Wednesday and the King's Bishop on Saturday.
Oh, we talked about that horse the other day.
It always flies out of my head.
I'll think of it because I just mentioned it the other day for some reason. It'll come. Let's talk a little stakes action for today and on the weekend as well. Today, the Union Avenue is the feature. It's going to be the 3rd race today. There's a 5-horse field. I thought Pico Uno won the race last year, comes in good form. Pico Uno seemed a little obvious to me, so that's the horse I put on top. I had a 5-4, 1 and 2. What were your thoughts?
I'm going to take us with these fillies who used to be real consistent are now inconsistent. Pico Uno, trainer Jason Service before the last race, which was the Dancer Renee, thought he was about to drop this one in for a tag or maybe retire, and all of a sudden she pops up with that effort. I'm not so sure she comes back and gives you that effort again. Absolutely won 4 or 5 in a row at one point last year, and she's gone way off form. But talking to Charlie Baker about Absolutely, he says she's training now. She's doing things now in the morning that she wasn't doing before, and in a good way. She's galloping out. She's finishing her works. Her form is really dirtied up here, as they say. And in a 5-horse field, the morning line says 9-2. I'm willing to take a shot. I'm going to try and go against the obvious Pico Uno and give Absolutely a shot, because if she's ever going to pay off today, today's the day.
All right, so there are some thoughts on today's feature, but a couple of nice stakes coming up on the weekend. And I cheated. I looked on the computer. Willie Beeman.
There you go. Yeah. Willie Beeman. I could have sat here till next Saratoga. I wouldn't have come up with that.
We just talked about it the other day, but Willie Beeman, again, that was 4 or 5 days.
Wednesday was the Albany, and Saturday was the King's Bishop. Unreal.
All right, coming up on Saturday, again, one of the highlights of the meet, the Grade 1 Alabama, $600,000 up for grabs, and clearly Monomoy Girl, the champ sitting in the clubhouse. It would take something completely freaky to knock her out of the eclipse after the win in the Coaching Club American Oaks. She, with the win over Midnight Bijou in that race, has the edge on that one. I think Wonder Gadot is chasing now. despite what might happen in the Travers. And Red Ruby, something crazy would have to happen.
She's
so
pretty much done for the year, I think, Red Ruby.
Okay,
So it's Monomoy Girls. The only scenario I could see is if Wonder Gadot won the Travers and then beat beat Monomoy Girl in the distaff, and even then I don't know, because Monomoy Girl will still be up 2-1.
Yeah, it's likely that is the leader and will continue to be so. But it's a fun field in here with Midnight Bishu. She's Julie. She's a Julie for Steve Asmussen. To me, kind of interesting coming out of the Iowa Oaks. Our friend Roddy Valente has Coach Rocks coming in off a couple of second-place finishes to Red Ruby. Talk Vuv, to me, comes in off a win in the Indiana Oaks, lately raced and maybe moving forward. Todd Pletcher has a runner. Ken McPeak has Eskimo Kisses, who showed some flashes down at the fairgrounds earlier this year. But I pulled up that Coaching Club American Oaks from last time. Yeah, Monomoy Girl is the leader, but a pretty good second from Midnight Bishu. And I think off of that and her record prior, she will be the favorite on Saturday. I haven't done my final handicapping. Probably I'll tilt for Midnight Bijou, but as I say, she's a Julie to me is interesting, and I might go in that direction for Steve Asmussen, who's having a pretty good meet. What are your thoughts in the Alabama?
Well, the one thing that kind of strikes out at me with this field here is there's a lot of speed for a mile-and-a-quarter race, and I think that's going to help out Eskimo Kisses, who I think's been sort of pace compromised in a couple of spots and trip compromised a little bit as well. And I think she's interesting. This race here, where she's in the Coaching Club American Oaks, she finishes a non-threatening fourth, but she hadn't run in over 11 weeks. It was sort of used as a prep race for this. The pace there was kind of moderate, and you're chasing the champion to the Rio Philly. So I'm not going to hold that against her. I thought this was just an okay effort from Midnight Bishu. She's all out here to get second, hold off, Chocolate Martini, I think it was, who was third. And Midnight Bishu is going to be the favorite, as you say. She's the horse to beat based on her form, connections, etc. But I thought Eskimo Kisses was interesting. I didn't see the morning line, and I don't know what her price will ultimately be. But if there's a big race with Eskimo Kisses' name on it, this might be it. At a decent price with a decent pace, you get Jose Ortiz, who's starting to get. We talked about this either a week or so ago last time I was on, and he was not doing as well here as as we're used to. But he's starting to pick up, and it's an interesting rider change to me, and he won the Alabama last year on a late. But no, Eskimo Kisses is probably going to get some of my money, and I'm hoping that somebody's giving it back to me after the race.
We all do. Mike Smith in to ride Midnight Bishu, speaking of jockeys. A little bit earlier on the card on Saturday, the Lake Placid Grade 2. We will hope, knock wood, that we stay on the grass because it's a nice little field. Daddy is a Legend comes out of the win in the Lake George earlier in the meet. Capilla Temptress has tried some races over here in North America. The Natalma last year up in Woodbine was the best of those. Ran 7th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly Turf. Ran 7th in the Belmont Oaks Invitational last time. But it seems like there's some talent there. Whether she can show it Saturday, that's still to be seen. Chad Brown has significant form. Go Nani Go is always in the hunt. Rushing Fall, though, is the horse that's going to be interesting. I'm going to show the Edgewood from Derby weekend down at Churchill Downs. Toinette, the number 7, will win as the even money favorite. Number 11 Rushing Fall runs second. Again, lightly raced with only 5 starts, 4 wins, and this second place finish. I think this is a race where I think it's going to be interesting where the betting public goes, because the way I Am, a horse I haven't mentioned, I thought was kind of the leader in the clubhouse after the Gulfstream meet, but has been a bridesmaid in the last 3 starts, running second. So it seems to me it'll be interesting to see, but I think the betting public, given Chad Brown and Saratoga, that'll be the favorite for the race. But what are your thoughts on the Lake Placid?
Well, it's which Chad Brown do they go to? I think they'll ultimately go make Rushing Fall the favorite. She is a Breeders' Cup winner. She's 4 for 5 with a neck loss, the one that you're just watching now, where she got hooked up by Daddy's a Legend, and then Toinette, who I had held in high regard, nailed her on the wire. Now, Rushing Fall hasn't been out in 3 months. Where's she been? Well, they were considering Royal Ascot. They decided not to go there. They were thinking about training her up to the Belmont Oaks. She wasn't doing as well as Chad Brown would have liked, so he didn't go there. Then they were going to find a nice spot in the Lake George on opening day, and she got a temperature. So she's sort of been a little bit star-crossed this year, only with the 2 starts. I'm a little bit against coming back and what could be a softer kind of turf course. Not that she doesn't handle it, but you're talking about a long layoff, a 1.8 miles, which she's never done, and soft ground.
A long unplanned layoff too, with the dings that kind of kept her. That's what plays into it.
Right. It wasn't supposed to be this long for her to run. significant form. Maybe didn't like the mile and a quarter. Probably didn't like the mile and a quarter in the Belmont Oaks. Still, the way I am, finished ahead of her. And look, this has not been a fun meet for Mr. Motion. Yet to win a race, 22 or 23 starts. A lot of frustrations. The tone for his meet was set on the second day of the meet when he got beat a nose in the Diana. 5th time the guy ran second in the Diana, which is unbelievably hard to do. I like the way I am. She's as consistent a type of horse as she likes. I don't know that she wanted any part of the mile and a quarter either, but she ran a game second to Athena, an Aidan O'Brien horse who just sort of ran by them all in the last 16th of a mile. Now Velasquez is going to ride her back, get an inside post, save some ground. With the rail out 27 feet, I don't think Graham Motion's going to go 0 for the meet. And I think if he doesn't win before the 8th race on Saturday, I think he wins the 8th race Saturday.
Yeah, as I say, after the Gulfstream meet, she was the leader of the way I am of this subdivision of 3-year-old fillies on the turf, so it wouldn't surprise me to see her rebound. We talked about which Chad will they go with. It's worth mentioning on the betting side of things, as I haven't mentioned it yet today. The other Wesley Ward yesterday sneaks away at $20 in the feature.
That was pretty funny. They're all coming in from Europe. They all had raced out there. I'm not sure why. I'm not saying she should have been favored over the other one, but as far as the disparity of 9-5, 10-1, that was that seemed a little bit odd.
I will admit I did not have it on my pick ticket. I used the other Ward and a couple others on my pick ticket, but when I looked at the board and saw 9-1, I backed up.
Good for you.
Come on, Wesley Ward with the other Wesley Ward at a $20 price. So I wound up getting I still wasn't as happy as I would have been with the pick bet. But, it benefited a little bit. You have to look at those. There was a Chad runner, was it yesterday or the day before, that also paid a decent price. Those are always the kind that after the race is over, how did this horse pay that price?
It's I think it was an IRAD on the one that won yesterday too for Wesley.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's $20 for no one is riding better than IRAD right now.
Oh yeah. You knew it was going to be one of the Ortiz brothers. The surprise was which one, but he's been riding well straight since the beginning of the meet.
Yeah, from day one. And we won the Belmont meet too, so he's been on a roll for several months.
Yeah. All right, Dave, appreciate the visit. And again, we'll tell people to go to the dailyracingforum.com, drf.com to check out Dave's work or pick up the hard copy, and also highly tout, because whenever we have you and Mike in, we talk a little bit about the workout reports. And what did I say I saw? Matt Hunter did a story on Spectrum about the workouts over there, and you were kind of in one of the shots.
I was the guy in the red shirt hanging out in the back there. Those guys do a great job, though. Dave Norton and Brian Walls and in the Oklahoma, because they come hot and heavy right now. Fast and furious. In fact, I left there. We're in the middle of 80 turf works today.
Well, with the weather, when the turf works come, they come.
They do.
And again, highly touted to pick up the workout reports via the Daily Racing Forum, because you'll get good info there, so keep that in mind. Dave, appreciate the visit.
Thank you.
All right, going to wrap things up for this edition of Racing Across America Thursday morning. We'll be back in tomorrow morning for the Handicappers Report at 9, Racing Across America at 10. In the meantime, enjoy the racing this afternoon. Cash some tickets. See you back here tomorrow morning.
You've been watching Racing Across America with Seth Merrow. Racing Across America has been brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. Hanel's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. Thoroughfan, giving the fan a voice. Find them at thoroughfan.com. Woodbine Racetrack. Pick, bet, and cheer on world-class horse racing north of the border. And the new Capital OTB mobile app. Wager anytime, anywhere. Download it free from the iTunes Store or Google Play.